Have you heard of the latest policy regarding issuing work authorization cards? I'm going to tell you all about it today. I'm going to also go through tons of different ways you can get your work authorization. So the Biden administration is sending texts and they're sending information out on the USCIS website regarding filing for your work permit. They want you to file for the work permit. These are for the new parolees that are coming into the U.S. You have several programs with a lot of designated countries where they're obtaining a parole to come to the U.S. by using the I-134A form. You need a U.S. supporter, and you can be paroled into the U.S., and you are eligible for work authorization. That is with the I-765 form. So USCIS wants to issue these new work permits. If you are one of the new parolees, Ukraine, Venezuela, Haiti, Cuba, etc., I've talked about this on previous videos. Make sure that you file for your work authorization immediately. It's going to be issued by USCIS. It's not taking a long time for these to be issued. It's wonderful stuff, folks. I've talked about another new program. It's called Family Reunification. If you have a family member in the second, third, or fourth preference category, even the first preference category, family I-130 petitions that have been approved, you can now get your family member paroled into the U.S. while you're waiting for the green card. They no longer have to wait abroad. They could be paroled in. When they're paroled in, file I-765, they get a 2-year work permit to be able to work in the U.S. Spouses of H, L, and E. So these are non-immigrant visas. You have your principal H-1B, you've heard of it, where the principal has a job in a field that requires a U.S. degree. You have an L, intercompany transferee, big companies transferring over executives to the U.S. E visas are investor visas. So if you are the spouse of an HLE, you're able to apply for a work permit. They just expanded that for the H spouses as well. This is good stuff, folks. File that I-765, get your work permit. All right, let's not forget about the I-485 based upon an I-140 employment petition. You can file an I-765 where you have an I-485 that is pending. Spouses and children also can file. If you have a 16-year-old, they want to drive, right? 16-year-old, get the work permit so they can get a driver's license. Good stuff with an I-485. If you lost your job, a new I-765 based on compelling circumstances, you can file for a work permit so you can transfer employers. A lot of new stuff here, folks. A lot of new stuff. All right, new stuff on the F1 front, right? So we've always had OPT, 1 free year. You can work, if you are in STEM, you are able to get 3 years work permit. Again, I-765, make sure you file it for 3 years. A lot of good stuff. You can file for a green card while you're working with an employer during that time period. It gives you 4 years after you graduate to be able to process your immigrant visa petition. All right, there's been talk about asylum. You know how you can get work authorization. Now, generally, when you file for asylum, you have to wait 180 days before you qualify for the work permit. They're talking about shortening that time period, folks. Keep an eye on that. File the I-765 as soon as you can. Let's talk about TPS. A lot of new countries have been designated for TPS. Find the list. Go to uscis.gov. Check it out. A lot of new countries. TPS authorizes one to be employed in the U.S. File the I-765. Get your work authorization based on your TPS. Another tip. So a lot of cases, generally, when you have a court case going and you have USCIS, different jurisdictions, right? If the case is administratively closed by either, and you had a work permit, an I-765, prior to the closure, you can continue to extend your work permit even though the case is administratively closed. File the I-765, folks. All right, so those are a few examples of new policy with regard to work permits. File the I-765. Hey, YouTube family and GN subs, thanks so much for watching GrayLaw TV. You can get me at hrg@graylaw.com. That's the only place you can get me. Hey, go to my playlist. We got some good content that's organized. Go to my frequently asked questions. Really good stuff, folks. Check it out. Hey, thanks again, and we'll see you next time.